TFL EV is brought to you by Flow Charger, maker of reliable, high-quality charging stations for your electric vehicle.
Hello and welcome to the all-new 2024 Chevy Blazer EV. In today's video, we are going to do a deep dive into both this RS model as well as the SS and tell you everything that there is to know about it, powertrain, technology, interior, and the lot. So stay tuned and let's get right into it. In order to talk about the new Chevy Blazer EV, I have Doug Houlihan here, who is one of the main guys making it possible for this car to even exist in the first place. So Doug, let's walk through and talk about first this RS model that we see here, and then move on to the showstopper, which is the Blazer EV SS with 557 horsepower, 648 pound-feet of torque. Really impressive figure.
Yeah, thanks, Kase. Hey, I'd like to start, because on all the Blazer EVs, it starts with the Ultium platform. And with that modular design that we use across our GM EV portfolio, we actually took 3 different battery packs, and we took the largest version, and that set the wheelbase. So we took the wheels, we pushed them out, we set the largest battery pack in the underbody, and then create the body structure around it. With the Ultium platform, we're actually able to create a flat load floor in the second row seat, which we'll show you in just a few minutes. We actually have a very low center of gravity, which gives just a great riding feel and structural rigidity.
Good for handling?
Yeah, extremely good for handling.
And so we'll go ahead and start off talking a little bit about one of the big differences between the models of the Blazers. So it starts with a 1LT and a 2LT. Then you go to the RS and the SS, and each one has not only different range ratings, but also different options for both front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive.
Correct.
So the 1LT is front-wheel drive only, right?
Right. So basically, I'll walk you through the trim levels as well as our batteries. And so with the 1LT, it's front-wheel drive, and that comes with 247 miles of range. All right. Then when we go to 2LT, we keep that front-wheel drive. We go to the next size battery, so we get 293 miles of range, but we also offer all-wheel drive. Then when you go to the RS, which you see over here next to me, this is where we put a larger rear drive unit in it, and we create a rear-wheel drive variant for the Blazer EV.
And then the RS
gets 320 miles.
So is it the rear-wheel drive model specifically that has 320 miles?
Correct.
Because there's also an option for all-wheel drive on the RS, right?
There is. So you can get it in front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and then on the rear-wheel drive, we actually put a larger rear drive unit in the RS.
Then it would be on the all-wheel drive?
It would be on the two-wheel drive. So there's two all-wheel drive systems. We have a drive unit, and then we have an even larger drive unit for the rear. Okay. Then once we do that, we then put in the SS, we go ahead and we put in another front drive unit, and we create the largest horsepower possible, 557.
And then that's a range of 290 miles on the SS, correct?
Correct.
So on the RS, if you want to absolutely maximize range, what is going to be the configuration that gives you the most? Rear-wheel drive?
Largest battery pack.
Okay.
So 1LT, it takes the entry battery pack, 2LT, and the RS, front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, take the mid-size pack. And then when we go to the RS, you can also get that rear-wheel drive with the largest battery pack.
So if you want to get that maximum figure of 320 miles range, rear-wheel drive RS is going to be the model for that. Also a good option just because rear-wheel drive is a lot of fun.
It's a ton of fun. And some other key features on the RS are, of course, the 21-inch wheels.
Yeah, so both of the LT models are 19s,
Those are 19s, exactly. And in all of these, we've incorporated a 789 millimeter tire OD, which that's a really, really important piece of data because it gives us what we call the rim to ground to still have plenty of rubber on the road for great ride comfort. And then when we step it up to the 22s, we still have got that really good ride because we've got the tire OD to handle it.
Yeah, so the biggest wheel in the lineup, obviously on the top model, this SS that you see right here, and we'll go ahead and start talking about the SS because, like I said, of all the models, this is the showstopper. 557 horsepower, 648 pound-feet of torque, and 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds.
You got it.
All really impressive figures, and also just a cool car to look at. I personally love the way that this roof line comes down to the belt line. It's so short there, it makes it look more like a sports car than a crossover. I think that's a really nice design element. And I know you guys were saying that you pulled a lot of design from the Camaro and the Corvette, right?
Right, exactly. And also the two-tone roof. So standard on the SS is this two-tone black roof, complementing our beautiful red exterior. And we also offer that on the RS as well.
And aside from obviously the 22-inch wheels that we mentioned, there's a few design differences between the SS and even the RS. So looking at the front end, you see a big difference here.
Yes, so you have a more aggressive lower fascia and front fascia here, and these grillettes in here, which are really, really cool. I'll get out of the light so you can see them.
And then tell me a little bit about the lighting signatures. So I know that there's more functions here than just being headlights. You get animations as you approach or walk away from the car, and it can also show your state of charge.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, and we can turn on that state of charge, and it goes to a blue illumination, and actually the center lit bar starts to fill up as you fill up the actual charge itself.
And obviously,
and of course a lit bow tie, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and all LED lighting all around, because I mean LED lighting is kind of becoming the standard in the industry. And then tons of technology as we move towards the interior. So
maybe just another thought on the exterior that we didn't touch yet is those front Brembo brakes. So when we talk about SS, we talk about performance, and not only the horsepower, but we need that braking performance. So front Brembos, track tunes, independent front and rear suspensions, Super Cruise, which is industry's first hands-free driving assistance technology on U.S. and Canada, compatible roads. And we've got what we think makes a really, really compelling SS.
Yeah, and then even more technology like park assist, obviously tons and tons of driver aids for lane keep assist, automatic emergency braking, even in reverse.
Yeah, exactly.
So tons of technology to keep this relevant when it comes to driving, but also how you display information. So 17.7-inch infotainment display and an 11-inch instrument cluster, all digital, is a really impressive thing to look at in this interior. I mean, these are huge screens, and kind of my favorite thing about looking at the interior of this car. I also enjoy the turbine style vents, and I know there's some specific details here that are particular to the RS and the SS, right?
Right, and at this point it would be really cool to introduce Justin Salmon. He's our designer, and hey, Justin, we'll bring him over because I really like to give him the opportunity to talk about what him and the design team have done to create a really, really compelling interior.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Here's Justin.
Now we have to talk about the interior of this new Chevy Blazer, and in order to do that, I'm going to talk to Justin Salmon, who is the expert when it comes to the interior as well as the technology here. So Justin, tell me first about the technology that you see when you walk up, because this is one of the most striking things about the interior as you approach it.
Definitely. I think the centerpiece of this interior really is our virtual cockpit system, and that refers to these two displays that are working in concert. We have our 17.7-inch diagonal freeform center display there, as well as an 11-inch cluster display, and we're really maximizing the active pixels on that center display. We've got that freeform technology allowing us to take picture really close and following the periphery of the shape of that screen. That's some technology that we're really excited about. Also trying to strike the right balance between digital and tactile inputs. So we maintain certain controls like the volume knob, which interacts really interestingly with the screen there, as well as our HVAC knobs down below. So customers will have the choice between interacting with those familiar physical controls, as well as being able to have redundancies in the screen to quickly tap through some of that.
So it's nice that you get options, some of those things that you have to mess with often while you're driving and you don't want to take your eyes off the road to engage with are still hard buttons, which I appreciate. I know a lot of my coworkers appreciate. And then you still have plenty of technology that keeps this up to date, fresh, good with the competition.
Definitely.
But then in overall design, there's some cool elements here. One of the things that stands out the most, aside from the screens and the technology, are these turbine style vents.
Yeah, and those are elements we're extremely excited about. Looking at our rich performance history, the rounds have been a signature element for Chevrolet performance. So when we when it came time to design the Blazer EV, we really wanted to elevate that and execute it in a way that felt appropriate for the EV space. So we explored some different material interactions and some play with translucency that really highlights some refined details in those rounds. And with the available ambient lighting, it's really going to celebrate those areas in low light scenarios. So.
Yeah, and then obviously this being an SS interior, there's a few additions. So both the RS and the SS get a flat bottom steering wheel, right?
Yes, that's correct. It kind of keys into our performance pedigree. And also there's a bit of ingress, egress when there's a bit of spaciousness that comes with that as you slide into the vehicle, and the driving dynamics as you feel that wheel is something that felt appropriate for the performance of this vehicle.
And then you get additional accents in this SS model. If you didn't already notice, it's a black and red interior, so some very, very bright accents even here in the back seat. And something else that I like that we have in the back seat is 2 USB-C ports as well as vents, so your rear seat passengers don't have to bake. And then if we pan up, also a big moonroof, which is nice to have.
You're right, and the center portion of that is openable, and there will be a motorized shade that will allow customers to close that. So, temperature can definitely come into play with those panoramic glass roofs, and we definitely thought about the customer in that regard.
And then let's check out the trunk as well, because I know people are going to be interested.
I'll get a hand for us to
okay, cool.
kick that off.
Well, here, we can also talk about, while we're here.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's mention the
material of choice, or what's on your mind?
I was thinking mentioning the seats.
Sure.
So something that you get on the SS and the RS model are heated and ventilated front seats, and then I know in the rear, outboard seats are optional on the RS and then standard on the SS, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so that the perforation that we did to kind of enable that heated and ventilated seat, there's a lot of celebration in the detailing there. It almost becomes a lightning bolt, almost SS-shaped Easter egg, which is something that the team had a lot of fun with. But the craftsmanship that you see in the pattern of that perforation is something that we're really excited about.
Yeah, so in overall, it's a cool interior, and there is a good amount of soft touch. I also like this nice size platform for resting your arm, which is, you can't say enough for having this as you're driving in ergonomics.
Yeah.
Good
and
platform.
I'm glad that you're keying into the soft materials. That's really something we wanted to dial up for this vehicle, and it really gave us an excellent canvas for applying color in really bold ways. So again, like you mentioned, in this example, we're pairing the adrenaline red with the black, and that's a more overt and very expressive combination, but it'll also open up the way for choices as you move between trim levels to have something more understated and sophisticated. So, playing with more tone-on-tone combinations with contrast stitches, there's going to be a wide variety of choices for our customers that'll cater to quite a few different tastes.
Yeah, and then of course, there's still certain materials that in order to keep the price down, some of it is not as soft touch, but overall a lot of really good materials that are in here, and just a fun interior to look at between the color, the turbine style vents, the screens. It's a nice looking place to sit.
Yeah, definitely. We wanted it to have a sense of character and excitement. In a lot of our performance vehicles, when you get into the interior, it feels like you're getting into something special, and that's the kind of energy and drama that we wanted to bring to the Blazer EV. So I think we really struck the mark with that, and I'm super proud of what the teams have put together.
So walking you through the technology journey on the Blazer EV, just starting with the front end here, some of the technology that we have in terms of the lighting is pretty wonderful. We have a walk up and walk away choreographed animation. That animation, not only is it aesthetically pleasing, but it also provides a functionality of showing the indication of your charge status. So the faster the pulsation rate, the closer you are to a full charge.
So not only does the lighting show you an animation as you walk up and your state of charge, but there's also some details that we obviously have to cover with charging. So a few specs that aren't quite released yet would be the exact size of the battery itself and the time to charge from 0 to 100 or 0 to 80%. But I know it's up to 190 kilowatts of fast charging, right?
Yep, 190 kilowatt DC fast charge at public stations. What that means in terms of your charging experience on the Blazer EV is you can get up to 80 miles, almost 80 miles, in under 10 minutes of charging. Also included is an 11 kilowatt AC onboard charging module. That is what provides some of that expedient charging that I just described, but also covers your home charging.
And then the screen has a bunch of extra functionality because this is an EV, including route planning, that accounts for the fact that at some point you're going to need to charge, right?
Yes, absolutely. On the Blazer EV, you can leverage the My Chevy app, which allows you to do route planning. So if you know where you're going in your destination, the route planner will show you all the DC fast chargers along the way. In addition to where they're located, you'll also know what the state of charge will be upon your arrival, the station availability at that charge station. You can reserve a charge station, and you can also know the real-time power rating of the stations there.
Which is a really nice feature to have, because not every EV in this segment gives you the ability to plan your route with charging in mind. A lot of them are just standard navigation, so having that as a feature is going to be really helpful, especially for people who are converting from gas to EV and they might not know every charging station that's around them. The car will be able to figure that out.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I really like about using the My Chevrolet application is you can plan your route while you're still in bed, while you're drinking your morning coffee in your kitchen, and then as soon as you're getting your vehicle, you're ready to go and everything is placed in your VCS screen. So we provide that flexibility so you don't have to be in your vehicle to actually do your route planning. And when we curated the charge experience for the Blazer EV customer, we didn't stop with those charging specifications that I shared and also with the route planning applications that we make available. We also curated smaller details to help make the charge experience better. We have a power open charge port door. We have a phrase at General Motors called ABC, always be charging. If you think about how often you're going to be interacting with your charge port door, it's at a magnitude of 10 times that you would on the fuel door equivalent. So we've provided a motorized experience for you. With the press of a button, your charge port door will seamlessly open and close.
So there you have it, a deep dive into the all-new 2024 Chevy Blazer EV. These vehicles are going to become available starting in the summer of 2023, beginning with the 2LT and the RS models. Then later on in the end of 2023, you'll be able to get your hands on a Blazer SS. And then finally in Q1 of 2024, the 1LT will become available. And the pricing works like this. The 1LT starts at $44,995. If you want to go up to the 2LT, it's $47,595. Then the RS starts at $51,995, and then the SS is $65,995. So it's a big upgrade in price to get that 557 horsepower and 648 pound-feet of torque. But if you want the absolute Mac Daddy fastest Blazer EV you can get, there it is. Let us know what you think down in the comments below, and we'll catch you all in the next video.